The thing you're praying hardest for God to remove from your life might be the exact thing He's using to position you for your greatest breakthrough. And if you remove it too early, you could sabotage your own destiny. Here's what nobody tells you about God's guidance. He often leads you into the storm before He leads you through it. The pain you're experiencing right now isn't proof that you're off track. It might be the most powerful evidence that you're exactly where God needs you to be. I'm going to share 7 signs that prove God is leading you in the right direction, even when your life feels like it's falling apart. But I have to warn you, these signs are so counterintuitive that most people miss them completely, and because they miss them, they quit just days before their breakthrough. There's a 45-year-old man named Thomas who was about to make the biggest mistake of his life. He was ready to give up on everything because he couldn't see these signs. He had lost his 6-figure job, his 20-year marriage was crumbling, and he was sleeping on his brother's couch, convinced that God had abandoned him. But what Thomas discovered in that coffee shop 6 months later changed everything. He realized that every door that slammed shut, every rejection letter, every humiliating moment wasn't God punishing him. It was God positioning him for something so extraordinary that it required him to be completely broken first. And here's what's going to shock you. By the end of this message, you're going to realize that your worst season might actually be your greatest setup. The very thing you've been begging God to change might be the key to unlocking your destiny. But here's the dangerous part. If you don't recognize these 7 signs, you could quit 3 feet from gold. You could walk away from your miracle just because you can't see God's hand in the darkness. And that would be the greatest tragedy of all. So pay attention to every word I'm about to share, because your breakthrough might depend on it. Sign number 1, unexpected doors keep slamming shut. This is where most people get confused and think God has abandoned them. But listen carefully. When God is redirecting your path, He often closes doors that would lead you away from your purpose. Let me break this down for you. Thomas applied for over 200 jobs in his field and got rejection after rejection. He thought God had forgotten him. But 6 months later, he discovered that the company where he desperately wanted to work had filed for bankruptcy and laid off their entire staff. God's no was actually protection from a disaster Thomas couldn't see coming. Here's what you need to understand. Every closed door is information from heaven. God sees the entire chessboard while you only see your next move. When doors keep closing despite your best efforts, God isn't punishing you. He's protecting you from paths that would lead you away from your destiny. Here's what Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." The word straight doesn't mean easy, it means direct. God will close every wrong door to lead you to the right one. But there's something even more supernatural happening that most people completely overlook. Sign number 2, you feel unexplainable peace in the storm. This sign defies all logic, and that's exactly why it's supernatural. You're in the middle of chaos, bills piling up, relationships falling apart, future uncertain, but deep in your spirit, there's a calm that makes no earthly sense. Thomas told me about a moment 3 months into his ordeal. He was sitting in his car after another job rejection, completely broke, and suddenly felt this overwhelming peace wash over him. Not happiness, peace. Not excitement, assurance. It was as if God whispered to his spirit, "I've got this." This isn't denial or delusion. This is divine confirmation. When you have supernatural peace in natural chaos, it's God's way of saying, "You're exactly where I need you to be for what I'm about to do." Here's the deeper truth. God's peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of His power in your problems. This peace is your spiritual GPS confirming that you're on the right route, even when the road looks completely wrong. Now here's where God's orchestration becomes undeniable. Sign number 3, divine appointments happen at perfect timing. Just when you need them most, the right people show up at the right moment with the right resources or connections. These aren't coincidences, they're divine interventions orchestrated by a God who controls every detail of your story. For Thomas, it happened on what he calls his surrender day. He was sitting in a coffee shop, laptop open, ready to completely give up on his dreams and settle for any job that would pay the bills. A man at the next table overheard his phone conversation and struck up a conversation. That stranger became his business partner, and that chance encounter launched the nonprofit that would change thousands of lives. But here's what's crucial. Divine appointments often come disguised as ordinary moments. God rarely sends angels with flaming swords. He sends people with coffee cups and casual conversations. These appointments can be a conversation with a stranger that opens unexpected doors, meeting someone who has exactly what you need when you need it, or receiving help from people who have no logical reason to help you, information coming to you at precisely the right moment. Romans 8 verse 28 puts it best, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." God is working all things, even the random encounters, for your good. Sign number 4. Your character is being forged under pressure. This is the sign that hurts the most but produces the greatest transformation. God uses pressure to reveal what's really inside you and to develop the character you'll need for your next level. Thomas later realized that his comfortable corporate job had made him prideful and self-reliant. The loss stripped away his ego and taught him humility. The financial struggle taught him to depend completely on God's provision. The failed marriage revealed character flaws he needed to address before he could impact others' lives. Here's the profound truth. God isn't trying to break you. He's trying to remake you. Pressure doesn't create character. It reveals character. And when God reveals what needs to change, He's preparing you for a level of blessing that your old character couldn't handle. Think about it. Would you trust a surgeon who had never been through medical school's rigorous training? Would you follow a leader who had never been tested under pressure? God is putting you through His leadership development program, and the curriculum includes suffering because that's where true strength is born. The pressure you're feeling isn't punishment, it's preparation. God is developing in you the character you'll need for the destiny He's prepared for you. Sign number 5. Your vision becomes crystal clear through the chaos. This might be the most counterintuitive sign of all. When everything external is foggy and uncertain, your internal vision becomes sharper than ever. It's as if God uses the confusion to eliminate distractions and reveal what really matters. During Thomas's darkest months, he had a moment of absolute clarity about his life's purpose. While sitting in that coffee shop, staring at rejection emails, he suddenly saw with perfect clarity that he was meant to help people navigate crisis. His pain became his compass pointing toward his purpose. Here's why this happens. When your circumstances are stripped down to nothing, your priorities become crystal clear. The noise of success, comfort, and security gets removed, and you can finally hear God's voice speaking about your true calling. Let me remind you of what Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future." This clarity often comes with sudden insight about your true calling, clear understanding of what you're supposed to do next, visions or dreams that provide direction, overwhelming sense of purpose despite outward circumstances. But this next sign is the one most people miss entirely, and it's the most powerful proof that God is leading you. Sign number 6. You receive supernatural favor from unexpected sources. This is when God starts moving behind the scenes in ways that can't be explained by your effort, connections, or circumstances. Doors open that should stay closed. People help you who have no reason to care. Resources appear from nowhere. Solutions materialize for impossible problems. After Thomas finally launched his nonprofit with his coffee shop partner, favor started showing up everywhere. A local businessman offered free office space. A retired accountant volunteered to handle their finances. Media coverage came without any marketing effort. Within 6 months, they had helped more families than they had dreamed possible. But here's what you need to understand about divine favor. It's not just about receiving blessings, it's about being positioned to be a blessing. God grants you favor not just to improve your life, but to improve the lives of others through you. Supernatural favor shows up as opportunities that come without you seeking them. People going out of their way to help you for no logical reason. Resources appearing just when you need them. Solutions to problems that seemed impossible. Doors opening that were previously locked. Timing that works out perfectly despite obstacles. When you start experiencing this level of favor, it's God's way of confirming that you're aligned with His will and purpose for your life. Sign number 7. Your faith grows stronger instead of weaker. This is the ultimate confirmation that God is leading you. Instead of the pressure crushing your faith, it's actually expanding it. Instead of doubting God more, you're trusting Him more deeply than ever before. Your relationship with Him is being strengthened through the struggle, not weakened by it. Thomas told me that his faith before the crisis was shallow, based on comfort and success. But the trials forced him into a deeper relationship with God. He learned to hear God's voice, to depend on God's strength, and to trust God's timing in ways he never had before. Here's the spiritual reality. True faith isn't built in the sunshine, it's forged in the storm. Anyone can believe when things are going well. But when you can still trust God when everything looks impossible, when you can still praise Him when you can't see the way forward, when you can still believe His promises when your circumstances contradict them, that's when you know your faith is real and your relationship with God is authentic. This deeper faith becomes the foundation for everything God wants to do through you. He can trust you with greater assignments because you've proven you'll trust Him in impossible situations. 6 months after sleeping on his brother's couch, Thomas launched a non-profit organization that has now helped over 15,000 families navigate their own crisis situations. His failure became his ministry. His pain became his platform. His mess became his message. But here's the most powerful part of Thomas's story. He told me that if he could go back and prevent his painful season, he wouldn't change a thing. Because he realized that God wasn't just leading him through the storm, God was leading him to the storm, because the storm was where his destiny was waiting. The job he lost? That company collapsed completely. The marriage that ended? He later understood they were incompatible for the mission God was calling him to. The financial struggle? It taught him complete dependence on God's provision, which he now teaches to thousands of others. Every closed door, every rejection, every sleepless night was God positioning him for the greatest chapter of his life. Right now, as you're listening to this, God is leading you towards something magnificent. Your current struggle isn't your destination, it's your preparation. Your pain isn't your punishment, it's your positioning. Look at your situation through the lens of these 7 signs. 1. Unexpected doors closing? Trust the redirection. 2. Unexplainable peace in chaos? Rest in His presence. 3. Divine appointments happening? Embrace the connections. 4. Character being refined under pressure? Welcome the transformation. 5. Vision becoming clearer through confusion? Follow the clarity. 6. Receiving supernatural favor? Acknowledge His hand. 7. Faith growing stronger despite circumstances? Celebrate the increase. If you can identify even 3 of these signs in your current situation, God is absolutely leading you in the right direction, even when life feels impossibly hard. Here are 3 deep reflection questions for you. Which of these 7 signs are you experiencing right now? How might God be using your current struggle to position you for your purpose? What would change in your perspective if you truly believed God was orchestrating every detail of your difficult season for your ultimate good? Don't waste another day wondering if God has forgotten about you. He hasn't. He's actively leading you, positioning you, and preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Trust the process, even when you can't see the purpose. Your story isn't ending, it's just getting to the good part. And sometimes God's greatest miracles are hidden in what looks like your greatest mess. Your breakthrough is closer than you think.